Welcome to NeuroNoodle's Neurofeedback and Neuropsychology podcast featuring tech legend Jay Gunkelman. He's the man who has read well over 500,000 brain scans, and Dr. Marie Swingle, author of iMinds. Our goal is to provide information and promote options for better mental health. Hey everyone, if you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep it going, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support helps improve the content and brings on great guests and grow the show. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/NeuroNoodle. But hey, if supporting financially isn't in the cards right now, no worries. You can still help us out for free by liking, subscribing, and sharing this episode. It really makes a difference and helps more people find the show. If we've earned it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. The NeuroNoodle podcast is supported by listeners and businesses just like you.
Okay, I'll let you record. So,
Thank you, Jay.
at least they say okay here as opposed to got it, you know.
Got it, yeah.
Got it. What is you? Did you get it? You know, who gave it to you? Yeah. So anyway. We're full court on duty here today.
Oh yes.
He goes from one side of the chair all the way across my lap onto the footrest. So I'm being occupied.
The quality of the content of this show just skyrocketed.
You
See what I said there?
I did hear the term gold somehow, and I don't think it necessarily translated into coinage, but perhaps just quality of material.
So Jay, in the chat,
did you get different people or just bolder questions, or what happened?
We had some different people show up. In the chat here, I put a little QA summary together to kind of give you an idea, like.
Yeah, if I'm going to read the chat, there's little tiny print.
Yeah, I know. So I'm just gonna go through each one here, and then we can see what tickles our fancy.
Okay, shoot.
AI therapy validation, that came up again. Overlapping rewards and inhibits, that was kind of a big one.
Overlapping rewards and inhibits. That's a technical issue, and yeah. I'm a tech. This is a perfect question for me.
Well, here's the exact question, Jay. When is it okay to overlap reward inhibit? Example, reward SMR and inhibit slow and fast. Jay, any hard rules or just follow the data?
Well, in fact, you need to understand filters a little bit. For instance, you may be told to suppress theta and alpha, let's say, 8 to 12. And then you're told to train SMR, 12 to 15. And the wise person at some point will look at that 12 and say, well, you're rewarding and inhibiting 12. What's going to happen at 12? Is it going to get confused? You're upping and downing it at the same time. What in the hell are you doing? Should we go to 11 and a half and start at 12 and a half? I mean, should we have a little hysteresis zone between our filters? Or can they in fact butt up against each other like that in reality and still function? And the reality is that's the case. Let's do a little screen share. You know, we do have this is an old EEG exam, and it's got a lot of just didactic questions. This was actually the first QEEG exam ever given, which was written by me. And but this portion of it basically shows you what you have to learn as a tech, and this is basically on its side, but. This is electrical concepts from the patient through the amplifier, input impedance, the sensitivity voltage divider, all the different kinds of circuits that you've got in an EEG amplifier, then basic electrical concepts have to be understood. Positive, negative, current flow, all that kind of stuff. The questions you've got to, first of all, a Model 8 or Model 6 amplifier is a bit dated at this point.
What is it, like 86 now?
No, well, first of all, Grass Instruments is a classic, not necessarily a current. You 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 look at Grass Instruments; they're worth their weight in stainless steel. They're the size of a freaking desk. And a modern amplifier is the size of a book. Even 32 or 64 channels end up being fairly discrete in size. But all of this ends up being stuff you need to do. EI or you have to manipulate the formula for EI and R. Be able to calculate what the effects of different circuits are and so forth. So it's going to run into a point in time that you basically have to understand all of these things. And one of the things that you're going to end up having to understand is filters. So this is a clean page, and most people assume if you have
wait a minute, bad art?
4 to 8 and 8 to 12, and you're going to suppress this stretch, and then from 12 to 15, so these are going to all be inhibited, and then 12 to 15 here is going to be enhanced. And most people think it's just 4 to 12, and these are digital filters, so just vertical lines. And that's not reality. What really is happening is your filters have an edge where it rolls off. And the number that they specify is actually a point at which you've lost 30% of the voltage. So this filter may be called a 12, an 8 to 12, for instance, but it actually is a third down at that point. And the 12 to 15 is also a third down at that point. And what you're really training tends to be centering things in the band that you're training, not tending to move them to the edges because the edges are not are not rewarded fully. So the 12 to 15 is really kind of entraining things in towards the center of the training band. The suppressed band is catching all of this, but suppressing, less efficiently at 12. They're overlapping, and they're largely not interacting. It's very seldom that you've got an exact 12 that's not going to end up figuring out which side of this it wants to be on. And you also need to realize that SMR isn't 12 to 15. Your SMR classic filter is 12 to 15. But SMR was declared initially as 11 to 19, depending upon your arousal level, with the group average at 13. And it's essentially the same as a sleep spindle. Sleep spindles are classically defined as 12 to 14, in sleep medicine. So, and, around 13. But people in sleep medicine know, sleep spindles vary a little faster, a little slower, depending upon the individual. Barry Sturman and David Kaiser found an autistic child that had an SMR at 10. They did a traditional 12 to 15 training session, and it acted like beta training. So Barry, being a neurophysiologist and knowing his stuff, said, "Well, we have to get the kid to fall asleep so we can count the sleep spindle to know what his SMR frequency is, because it's the same exact thing." So they sang lullabies till the kid fell asleep, and they recorded a vertex sharp wave in a spindle complex. You respond to a sound, but it doesn't wake you up. The spindle there is your sleep spindle, which is your SMR. And for this kid, it was a 10. And, an aberrant, divergent circumstance, but that person's SMR was 10. You can't train 12 to 15 and get 10 to respond well in that filter. So you can't use standard filters because people aren't standard. You have to adjust your filters to match the pathophysiology or the physiology that you're training. Anyway, filters that have the same number, again, have a roll off and a 30% drop where the filter is specified. So if your band range says, it goes up to 70, you can expect the 70 to be rolled down, 3 decibels, which is 30%. 6 decibels is 50%. Decibels, not a linear linear scale.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, we've got the reason that the 12 being both taught up and down isn't really the case, and also that you need to pick your filters to match the person. So if they're actually making something at a 12 as one of their common frequencies, you will have decided, is this really their SMR, and we need to slip this over a little bit, or is this really a fast alpha, we need to slip this up a little bit.
Mm.
So you have to match the individual, and the filters do have roll off, and they're not vertical digital filtering.
Jay, what should I know about electricity? We've never really talked too much about Well, we do, but we never get into the principles of electricity. Like, oh, wait, hold
Don't
on,
poke,
Dr.
don't
Marie's coming in.
don't poke your fork in the electrical socket. So lesson
That's
one
a
in
first.
electricity probably learned early as a child. um, so
Hey, Dr. Marie, we're just talking about I forget what our tangent was, but overlapping rewards and inhibits from
yeah, and I just did some
I,
very bad art about filters and all of that, but
yes.
we also chatted a little bit about concepts that have to be understood as an EEG tech,
Oh,
and some of the questions that you run into on EEG tech exams. So
uh-huh.
the if you've got a technical question and somebody's passed their EEG tech registry, they have to have gotten all of this stuff,
Or
like your
remembered it for 10 minutes.
yeah. Well, actually, registry techs normally take an AA level degree course in order to learn all this stuff. 2 years of study in order to take the course in order to pass the exam.
I apologize for my bad sense of humor. Yeah.
And anyway, and this is the first exam that was ever given, a QEEGD exam, and I wrote the first exam, and I'm not stopping to show lots of questions. I don't know that any of these are still in the exam that they give now, but
What year was that, Jay?
96.
Okay, because I think I wrote mine in 1999 or something. I know I got my nice piece of paper in 2000. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, we were just talking about the overlapping. If you have 8 to 12 being trained up or suppressed, and you're doing SMR training, the 12 is in suppress and enhance at the same time. And I explained how that actually works, where the filters have roll off, and you're not really training that. And if you're really somebody who's making 12 hertz alpha as a significant alpha peak, you should be adjusting your filter to match your patient, not trying to jam your patient into a preset band range. The definitions that you state on the BCIA exam are appropriate for their exam, but they weren't handed down by God on a tablet. These were invented by stupid people, and we're all idiots, and we came up with these stupid numbers that we assign to band ranges in the EEG, but people don't fit those bands. Some do. A neurotypical may have alpha generally between 8 and 12, but if you're younger, you're not, and if you're older, you're not, and so you have to adjust our idea of where people should be in their frequency tuning to where they actually are. That's why you have to do some basic testing before you just toss them into a software package that has preset bands.
Are you ready for the soapbox announcement?
Go for it.
Look at the raw squiggle, not the number. Right. I mean, that's the way you tell by the morphology. So yeah, we always have to remember, go back to the raw data.
And Dr. Marie,
that's my line. You're stepping on my line,
Your squiggly line?
Exactly.
Okay, it's a good space to be.
Dr. Marie, your eyes might be better than Jay's and mine, but I put the questions that came up in chat.
Okay.
In
I
the
don't see
chat
them
here.
anywhere. You're gonna have to read them. Are they?
Yeah, too small.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I don't see them at all. Maybe it's my my screen.
You have to click on chat and it'll pop up like a page.
Chat. I tend to ignore the chats. Here we go.
Like Theta from antipsychotics versus intrinsic. Our friend Lynn asked, how do you tell if excess Theta is Med Induced or natural and raw EEG? Any morphology clues or just history and response?
So not all antipsychotics produce Theta. If your antipsychotic is producing slowing, you probably are either on too high a dose because it is slowing your brain, or you're going to end up having a side effect from the antipsychotic, like a tardive dyskinesia or cognitive clouding, sedation of some sort. The intention of an antipsychotic is to cut down on the hyperexcitable cortex that is the psychosis. You can see 35 hertz peaks, lots of beta in the 20s. I mean, beta spindling is kind of the hallmark of the psychosis. And you can also see paroxysms and epileptiform content in psychosis. 1/3 of the psychotics have epileptiform content. If that's the case, you can't give them an antipsychotic. You have to give them an anticonvulsant because antipsychotics potentiate discharges. And if you're taking an antipsychotic and it's making a lot of theta, it may be potentiating discharges as well. You may have your first ever clinical event triggered by an antipsychotic making the discharge significant enough to actually cause your first ever seizure. So, psychiatrists don't necessarily look at the EEG before they prescribe it, but they should. If you don't look, you can't tell, and if you do look, you'll know. And are you going to step in it or not? And the common courtesy of a cowboy is if you've stepped in it, you say don't step there. And we've seen people learn not to prescribe until after you look at the EEG because they've stepped in it. And the common courtesy is that they no longer want to prescribe, and they recommend to people that they actually start to look at the EEG before they prescribe. Now, psychiatry is still a bit resistant. It's a big institutional group, and change is resisted by any institutional group. Um, but the biological psychiatry is the largest growing edge of psychiatry. The DSM being kind of in disrepute, people are flocking to the ICD codes, and they're no different. They're all behaviorally based clusters, and they don't predict therapy. Just administrative categorization.
I want to take a hop on the soapbox again, followed by a question. So the first one, and yeah, I might be out of scope here, but
Yeah, good.
sometimes you got to take a little jump. But when just in terms of knowing when a med is right or wrong, one of the things that drives me crazy about a prescription practice is when you do get, as you said, excess theta, and somebody does get tardive dyskinesia, as opposed to recognizing that this perhaps is not the med doing the correct thing. You get another med to go after the tardive dyskinesia. So I really ask all my colleagues to please look at that. Look at the EEG and those who have prescription privileges to see whether another med would be better as opposed to adding a med for the tardive dyskinesia. So that's my soapbox. But the question for Jay, though, is one of the reasons why yesterday I said, hey, let's bump this up to Jay, is I don't know, and I would like to learn if there is a way to recognize that the theta is coming from a med versus not. I don't know if there's a way to tell.
The person may have an ADD overlay and have a theta because of that, and you can have more than one presentation because the DSM categories are not unique, discrete boxes. There's comorbidities because these are boxes that were artifactually created, and the comorbidity is just you're sharing some common pathophysiology of some sort. So I don't think that we have to worry too much about DSM. It's going to be going away. The funding for research domain criteria is starting to actually hold. You can't just do DSM only research without a phenotype biomarker, some genotype, something. Some blood work, some lab work of some sort. They're trying to make it more like real medicine, where the diagnosis is based on a lab test, not a wild guess. The wild guess from the doctor is what gets you the lab test. Oh, I think you may have a heart problem. I'll get an EKG. Oh, I think you have a brain problem. I'll get an EEG, maybe an MRI, maybe a PET scan, maybe, there's so many ways to end up doing assessments, but you have to do some kind of a lab test in order to come up with a predictive categorization.
I call it
You can't do
historical
it.
drag. That, not too long ago, the profession of psychology or psychiatry was the one profession where you couldn't actually look at the instrument or the biology that you were, like a broken arm, you can look at it, a sore throat, you can look in there. So I think it's drag that once we got the instruments where we could start to see there was this idiotic bifurcation, of those who refused to look and those who were going, hey, so finally, we're coming back together and we have some pretty darn good tools
Yeah.
for seeing that.
Now, Freud, many, many years ago, obviously, I mean, he's long since gone, did a biological project where he's actually starting to look at biological stuff. And he realized that the instruments that they had were just too damn crude.
Yeah.
And he gave up at the time, saying at some point in the future, we may have instruments that are adequate. And at that point, I expect it to replace this talk stuff with actual biological measurements. So he's probably was right, and I think we're probably about there. Yeah, we have in the last decade the amount of neuroscience has just exploded. The amount of neurochemistry detail is exponentially increased. You can't track it all. the number of journals you can't even track. So some of them are just trash, but even the good journals have gone up and up and up. So it's hard to track all the things that are happening in your field.
Mhm.
If your field is not just a narrow silo, it's hard to track everything.
Mhm.
So I get people sending me articles that I haven't seen from journals I didn't even know about, and it's some damn good papers,
I mean, it's a beautiful situation and it's difficult. I love the proliferation of knowledge, but that's why, Jay, you occasionally get the "Hey Jay" email. I think you're our guru library as well. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I
And
was at a meeting and Leslie Sherlin said that I'm just about like Wiki,
Yeah.
Wikipedia. That somebody said something and some topic, and I just gave him like 3 or 4 paragraphs worth of information about it, and he had just popped up Wiki, and he said, just as I could have read the first 3 or 4 paragraphs, and it was exactly what Jay just said.
Yeah.
Uh, um,
Hey, wait a minute. Are you actually AI, the AI guy?
no, I'm the
It's the head
old-fashioned.
that we see on this chair for the past, 5 years. I think we're
If
on
you
to
go
you.
back far enough, maybe max headroom.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, yeah. Boy, does that date us, huh? Yeah.
all right, we had another one here from Radar. Why it's essential tremor and neurofeedback. Why doesn't neurofeedback help essential tremor?
Yeah, but it does. It
Yeah,
does.
yeah,
It,
great,
Dr.
yeah.
Marie said it can reduce magnification through ANS quieting. Jay, any protocols we're trying?
Yeah, absolutely. First of all, essential tremor and other movement disorders have just had a keynote address by Lisa Tatron. Get a copy of that from the Sassoon Summit. It's really a fabulous presentation. 90 minutes of extremely dense information, really well presented, lots of good references. But essential tremor can be treated pharmacologically. They usually give you a blood pressure medication, actually, a channel blocker. And the channel blockers cut down on norepinephrine. And gee, norepinephrine drops your arousal level a little bit. And as your arousal level drops, your beta level drops. And as you drop your arousal level, things stabilize a bit and the essential tremor disappears. The intentional tremors are the really tricky ones. In San Francisco, there's a guy who paints the detailed stripes on lowrider cars, and you know there's some very fancy scroll, and it's right spin and left spin, and they have to match perfectly, or the guy's going to just freak the hell out. Uh, you probably get shot for the bad paint job. So it's a tough circumstance. They don't want you to mess up the undercoat that you're painting on is probably a $10,000 paint job. So they go to this old guy, and he won't let anybody watch him work because he has an intentional tremor. He'll dip his paintbrush and his hand is going like this, and as he approaches the car, as his hand is wiggling and wiggling and wiggling, and if you're the owner of the car, you would jump and tackle him to keep him from get that paint messed all over the car. As soon as he's going, it's his fluid and absolutely pristine work. But he has an intentional tremor. As he's intending, it's tremulous, but as soon as he's doing, it's stable as can be.
Cool.
So there's lots of kinds of tremor. Parkinson tremor. Lewy body is confused with Parkinsonism quite often, and it's a different entity, but you can see them in the EEG. Most tremors end up having a dysrhythmia, which is a slow feature with a fast feature coupled with it. And quite often it's fast beta or gamma coupled with slowed alpha, that's down into the theta band. And thalamocortical dysrhythmia in the motor system is predictive of a movement disorder. Dirk de Ritter showed that the thalamocortical dysrhythmia wasn't just a theory about stuff. A machine learning algorithm looking for the dysrhythmia could identify and classify tinnitus, phantom pain, movement disorders, and depression better than 90+% accuracy. So, it wasn't just some theory Rodolfo Lanus came up with when he was looking at Parkinson's patient data. This cross-frequency coupling is, in fact, the real thing. If you decrease the input to the cortex on a thalamocortical column that normally makes alpha, that column is not getting an input. The cortex is waiting for an input. If you don't give it an input, that cortex is not being stimulated. And without the input, you turn off the lateral inhibition that's kept this function right there. The lateral inhibition allows gamma to circle the spot and invade. And the gamma is linearly related to the strength of the tinnitus sound, the intensity of the pain, the stiffness or rigidity of the movement disorder, and the severity of the depressive presentation. The beta spindling is a positive symptom. The slowed alpha ends up being the reason for the gamma surrounding it. If you can replace the input, the gamma goes away. But if you lost your arm, how are you going to replace that input? Well, you can replace it top down, not bottom up. And that's Dirk de Ritter sticking in an implant that stimulates to turn off the phantom pain or turn off the tinnitus or help with the movement disorder. Now, they don't just stick it on the motor cortex. I mean, that's into the subthalamic nucleus to stabilize the network. But, you can replace the input artifactually or artificially, or you can do it naturally with training. And you can train down aberrant beta patterns, and you can speed up slowed alpha patterns. We've worked quite effectively with these things. And Lisa Tatra has been working for the last 25 years, and if in the field. And if you've seen Lisa Tatra, and she looks like she's 25, so when she was like 6 or something, but
That's a reflection on all of us, not her.
Anyway,
Jay, I have a question about dystonia, because again, that's one where we find where if we quiet the person in general, it can help quiet the dystonia.
Yeah.
But any bigger direct intrusions that you can suggest for that one, because that's a toughie.
Yeah, not only just calming down the beta, but actually training up the stabilization frequencies of SMR.
Right.
And SMR stabilizes not just the simple motor stuff. The red nucleus is involved. I mean, and if you look at Barry Sturman's model of SMR, actually it starts out with the frontal lobe kind of down regulating things. So it's a whole brain phenomenon, but the training up of the sensory motor rhythm frequency along the motor strip is a motor stabilization. That same frequency elsewhere is a stabilizing effect, but it's not necessarily just motor stabilization.
Social anxiety, T6 alpha. Why does it work so well?
Yeah. Well, T6 is a spot that it's in the spatial hemisphere, but it's spatially encoded emotion, faces, body language, the song or tone of speech, prosodic information of speech. All of that stuff is perceived in that T6 area. Now, if you can't perceive faces, are they smiling? Are they frowning? Are they making faces at me? you know, oh my God, I'm getting ideas of reference. you know, uh, uh, are they happy with? I can't read my social milieu. That's going to be creating it's an ambiguous circumstance. It's going to create anxiety in a Bayesian brain because if you can't perceive it. And and so if you're blind socially, they don't hand you a striped green and purple cane so everyone knows you're prosodically blind, so that we can say, oh, I'm sorry, little Johnny can't see your face, you got to tell him you're happy, no, 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 little Johnny's blind to social stuff. He's going to end up not behaving properly because he can't judge his impact on others. I just did something crazy. Mom gives me the look from across the house. I stop real quick. Now, if I can't judge faces, mom gives me the look. I still do crazy shit. She comes over and grabs me by the scruff of the neck. You have to escalate the control mechanisms. And if you can't read your social environment, your behavior is going to be bad. You're going to be anxious. It's a really bad spot to not have functional. So,
Is there a reason why we have such parental failure now? Should we just be training all the little kiddos a bit more?
well, T6 is essential for perceiving your impact on others as well as what's going on around you.
Yeah.
And if you're just passively sitting there, you're not doing anything to be perceived. You're just taking it in, and not well, I have to say, if your T6 isn't working well. And how do you get a bad T6? Well, unfortunately, bad experiences. The If you're traumatized, the PTSD features that we end up seeing tend to be fairly predictable. In the eyes open, we expect to see visual hypervigilance and overarousal. And the visual hypervigilance is lots and lots of lambda from looking and looking and looking and looking. Your eyes are open. You're looking. Where are they coming from? I know they're coming. I just got to keep my eyes open to see where they're coming from. And your salience network drives that, and your amygdala ends up being changed, and that's why you have the lambda. So the PTSD change your amygdala is full of an emotion, changes your thalamic gating, you get gigantic lambda. Your nervous system is jumpy. You're faster than you normally would be in your reaction time because the thalamic gate gives you quick sensory throughput. It might gives you 20 milliseconds quicker perception. Well, 20 milliseconds, that's worth nothing, is it? Well, when your reaction time might be 120 milliseconds, if you're 20 milliseconds faster than your neighbor, the bear might get them, not you. So, it's an adaptive thing to have your emotions change your perceptual speed, but you're jumpy. And unless you calm down that amygdala, you're always going to be jumpy. So we see adults that still have lambda, and lots and lots of lambda, and as soon as you close the eyes, T6 lights up. And when we see that combination, we then look to see if there's frontal alpha that's hypercoherent. Is this anxiety or PTSD? Pardon me. In the PTSD, you can also start to look at some estimate of when the trauma may have occurred, because there's an encoding of information at the frequency you have at the time. If you have very early life childhood trauma, it's encoded in slower frequencies. You're not just going to have an alpha peak. You're going to have slower content, slow edge of alpha and theta frequencies in that same spot for a bad reason, to childhood PTSD.
Narcissism versus ADHD versus autism overlap. Impulsivity ADHD can look like not caring, narcissism. Autism, poor cue reading, can look self-absorbed. How do we differentiate on QEEG and history?
Well, first of all, narcissism, if you're sensitive to its features, you spot it fairly readily. It's not hard. You just have to know what you're looking at. I think some of us may have been sensitized to that as an issue over the last few decades, but nevertheless, there are people that have actually looked at personality disorders and EEG. Tom Brownback and Linda Mason had done quite a bit of work in that area historically, and their CNC 1020 assessment does pick up nicely on personality issues. Um, uh, they have originally they were in manuals, and it was a stack of manuals that you'd have to have a hand cart to carry them around with. You know, not you would ruin your back hauling the Brownback Mason manuals around. It was the stack, big thick manuals and lots of them. So luckily, Dirk Mulder over in the Netherlands criterion keyed some of the questions to reduce the total number of questions, but also digitized it all. So instead of having to haul around manuals, it's all online. But they identified frontal problems in uh, uh, people with personality disorders, including people in prison. Jim Evans also did quite a bit of work with people in prisons and found slow content more frontally, more right frontally, actually. And that corresponds pretty closely with what Brownback and Mason found as well. So, how do you get narcissistic personality? Early life experience. Read Alan Shore's work.
Yeah.
Alan Shore's work out of UCLA psychiatry department back in the
10 years
90s.
old, Jay. We're not supposed to. It's older than 10 years old.
Oh, I know. But then so am I. I'm too old to listen to anyway. So, I'll just forget it.
Sure, all of these early developmental psychologists, they're jewels. They're absolute jewels.
Face-to-face encounters, parent to child. How do you learn emotions? Well, you make faces with a baby. Yeah. All the funny faces, oh, peekaboo,
Peekaboo is emotional training.
every happy, sad, startled, crying, they learn emotion from face-to-face experience, and you develop the neurochemistry that underlie those emotions. And Alan Shore's work in 1996 and 1997 do a perfect job of describing all of that. So now we don't have face-to-face, although I guess you might be able to hire one of these AI things that have a really good face that make faces, and maybe that would. No, I don't think that's going to be.
No, I mean,
don't hire an AI face, mama face, to make faces with your baby.
Well, they already are. They have these little mini bots. I think a couple of shows ago, I know Pete loves it when I get into sex and porn and things because he gets the clickies. But no, I mean, we're creating pathology. I mean, we have these sexual substitution robots. We have now caretaking for elder bots. And
when you say we, can you own it? I don't have these. When you say we, I don't want to have any confusion.
They exist in communities. Yeah. No,
Okay.
but I was being kind of funny about this, but not funny at all. In terms of children literally missing developmental landmarks. Because either the parent is interacting with the phone too much or the child is. I call it, creating eye babies. It's iPad in the cradle. So, and these are critical. I mean, I can go on and on about this, but these are critical developmental phases that are really affecting folks. But I mean, back to narcissism and ADHD, though, I think, yesterday we were talking about the trends, like narcissism or narcissist is a very, very popular accusation now in couples being thrown out, just the way gaslighting was probably 6-8 months ago or so. But I would say, when you're dealing with a true narcissist versus somebody who's forgetful. And I would say somebody with severe adult ADHD, yeah, they forget to meet you, they forget to do things sexual, but there's no intentionality to hurt or to have superiority or to control you by that behavior. And that's a clear differential. So I think we should stop using the term popularly and get back to what it really means. I mean, true narcissists are dangerous assholes. There's no polite way to put it. Wow,
And
that went silent.
Ding.
Mic drop.
well, those are all the questions that came up in our Q&A that we do every Wednesday, 6 p.m. Dr. Marie, Joshua Moore, Anthony Ramos, myself, Jay, when he's,
On rare occasion, I'm not swamped already with too
you're
many
swamped
people
anyway. So
consulting.
we use this show to carry over all the stuff that we didn't get to, and here we are. And this show is going to come out right around maybe Wednesday. I might put it out a day early. It normally comes out on Thursday, but I'm going to put it out maybe Wednesday for Thanksgiving. Maybe we'll do a little Thanksgiving wish here to all of our viewers and listeners that are out there. Hopefully the bird isn't too dry. Hopefully the uncles aren't too drunk and everybody's having a grand old time. What's going on in Tucson City for Thanksgiving, Jay Gunkelman?
Well, we're staying home like usual. I only
Yeah.
get out for rarely, but Renita's got all sorts of good food rolling, so I try not to overdo it, because if you're on steroids, if you look at food, you might as well have eaten it, you know.
Yeah.
So, but I've gone from 220 down to 180, so I'm not trying to go back up to 220 here. So,
It's
yeah.
Thanksgiving, Jay, and you look fantastic.
You freaking liar. Look at this.
Dr. Marie, what do you do in Canada on Thanksgiving? You just laugh
Well,
at the Americans or?
no, well, at this point, no. I would love to wish all the Americans a happy Thanksgiving and remember what it's all about, right? Giving and sharing and community and breaking bread together. So please have a lovely Thanksgiving. We had ours around 4 weeks ago. We're further north, so
Yeah.
we've got to celebrate the harvest when the harvest is occurring.
What is your Thanksgiving called?
Same thing. Yeah,
Same thing? Okay.
it's
Then
exactly the same, just
what's
the date.
Boxing Day?
Uh, we are on the same continent. I mean, there are major differences between the two
Yeah,
countries.
yeah.
Yeah, no, all of those traditions are shared. Thanksgiving, I think it truly is a weather thing, right? It was related to harvest. Ours is early,
Yeah.
simply for that reason.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, one of our friendly, knowledgeable, geeky people will be able to Google up and tell us precisely why.
I thought it was like boxing, but it's like the presents,
What
the
is
boxes.
Boxing Day? Oh, no, I can tell. Boxing Day was when essentially after Christmas, all the wealthy families would take the remains or the leftovers of their Christmas feast, put it in boxes at the servant's door, or if you were, I don't think we really had middle class then, but if you had extra, and you weren't the absolutely elite, you would put it at the back door, and people who were hungry or wanted food would collect the food boxes from the back doors. It's actually a beautiful tradition, and now it's just everybody goes bloody shopping. But I love the idea of Boxing Day, and I don't know, maybe that's something to officially bring out, that this is the day people give to charities. That would be beautiful. But that's the origin of Boxing Day. It's giving excess food to people who want it or need it.
And we're also thankful for our apps out there that keep us calm and help us sleep, right, Dr. Swingle?
Yes, there you go. So if your Thanksgiving is taking you into a space where your family members arouse you a little too much, you can use brain calm. Okay, I'm being humorous. But no, we do have, yeah. No, we combine HRV with our trademark harmonics. embedded in colored noise. And the combination is really, really fantastic in terms of quieting. But it quiets without sedation. So essentially, people use it 10 minutes a day, and they really feel a lot better for it. And that's the brain calm. The sleep is self-explanatory. It helps to get into stage 1 sleep or recapture it upon waking. So it's for overt insomnia, non-restorative sleep. And then we have focus. And there are 3 branches within the focus app. One is for focus issues that are due to hyperarousal. So those are kind of your ADHD ones. Other ones that are due to anxiety, well, actually another form of hyperarousal, but people who panic on tests or get stressed out with performance focus. And then the third one they're all within the focus app, is creative focus. So these are for our writers and our musicians and things. It's a different place that you want to focus from. Anybody who's interested, contact me if they want details, if they want the data. But otherwise, you can just purchase it at swinglesonic.com.
I'm just happy to wake up another day, you know. So, and today is especially good. I have a brand new group in Spain that are starting 2-hour consults a couple times a month. So, you know, I'm always happy to have people that are interested in looking at wiggly lines, because it allows me to look at interesting wiggly lines that are sent from all over the place. So. It's an especially good day. I have a whole new group of interesting folks from Spain.
Now, is that translated? Is it for Spanish speakers?
They have a professional translation. They sent me the Zoom invite. They got online translation from English to Spanish and Spanish to English.
Love it.
So when one of them has a question for me, they can speak in Spanish and I'll get it in English.
Perfect.
And then JSusancity.com.
Because I was educated in the U.S. and I'm undereducated. I don't know any other languages, and I'm bad at English. So you know.
Well, you know the language of squiggles pretty darn good, if I have to say so.
Well, that's a different world entirely, isn't it? Not left hemispheric.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And then if you want to catch all the videos from the past Susan City summits, SusanCity.com. Check it out. Get your tickets early. Say, hey, I want my tickets now for next October.
Well, you know, they did sell out, and there were quite a few people that ended up having to catch it remote that would have preferred being there. But that's the way it is. We did let in some more than the total of 80. But they were students, and we never say no to students. So
it's always a great show. And again,
I mean, if we're just kind of sharing where everybody can get together with colleagues and cross-pollinate and educate themselves. BFE for the Spanish cohort. That's a beautiful, beautiful meeting in Europe, and this year it's in Poland. So people should check that one out as well.
Yeah.
Jay, Dr. Marie, everybody. A great Thanksgiving. My heart goes out to all of you.
Thank you, Pete.
Have a good one, everybody.
See you. We're off next week, so I'll see you in 2 weeks.
Okay, we'll see you then.
Catch you in a couple. Bye-bye.
Hey, everyone. If you're enjoying the show and want to help us keep it going, please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support helps improve the content and brings on great guests and grow the show. Join us on Patreon at patreon.com/NeuroNoodle. But hey, if supporting financially isn't in the cards right now, no worries. You can still help us out for free by liking, subscribing, and sharing this episode. It really makes a difference and helps more people find the show. If we've earned it, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss an episode. The NeuroNoodle podcast is supported by listeners and businesses just like you. Hey everyone, here's a quick message from our good old buddy Joshua Moore at Alternative Behavioral Therapy.
I'm preparing to do an introduction to QEEG phenotypes. This is my first workshop on the topic, and this is just the introductory overview of the project. This is going to be very, very basic. So let's review each phenotype. We're just going to go through them one by one. If you look at the DSM 1, 2, or 3, and you look at the first chapter, it actually acknowledges that the DSM in mental health is just, quote, a descriptive adaptation, unquote. We're going to customize the interventions and tailor them to the individual's brain activity, not just applying the treatments or trainings to the individual's phenotype and maybe even their variants, but also customizing the protocols themselves to fit that person's individual unique frequency patterns. Maybe a dozen ways to have excessive energy in your nervous system, and then there's an infinite amount of ways to relate poorly to that excessive energy, which means that there is a lot of variations in what someone might call anxiety. And that doesn't mean that we're talking about the same thing when we're talking about anxiety. So complicated stuff. But when we look at a brain map, we get some basis in which we can start talking about what is this energy. Then we have to go to the client. We have to start talking to the client about what is your association to this specific kind of energy that I can see now. Then we get to care about things that insurance doesn't restrict us on. We get to care about like the person in a broader way. 85% improvement in mental health report following pairing a medication with a specific phenotype. Geez. Okay, have you seen 85% in any mental health studies for any medication? I'm going to be going over a whole bunch of different types of tests, assessments, and things that can be used that have things called neurocorrelates, which you saw some of those already. Better success outcomes. That's what we really want. We need better predictive power. We need better individualization. That's what we want.